Hey, it's Pat.
And Holly.
And we, at least I, had a really good time last time when Holly was kind of our host. So we'll probably involve her a little bit more. She's not really prepared for this, but just beyond the hosting, just beyond asking me questions. But let's go ahead with the traditional stuff to get started, and I'll interject along the way.
Oh boy. So Patrick, how can I create a reliable lead gen and conversion system?
So a reliable lead generation and conversion system. Well, I think that the first thing that we need to do is identify who we're trying to attract. I mean, that's really step one in the process, right? We have to know who we're trying to attract. And once we've figured that out, we figure out, okay, what would be attractive to that person? What would be interesting to that person that would allow them to kind of self-identify, to raise their hand and show an interest in not necessarily specifically what you do, but at least in solving a particular problem or escaping from a place that they're at now and arriving at this new place. So feeling better, looking better, losing weight, improving performance, whatever that might be. So we need that information first and foremost. So once we have that, then we need to figure out where that person is. And we kind of all default to, well, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. The reality is they're a lot of places, not just on social media. They live in certain neighborhoods, they work at certain businesses. Maybe they have kids that go to particular schools. Their kids are involved in, activities, sports, whatever else. They might belong to a particular church. They frequent other businesses than ours. So how do we figure out that stuff? Well, ask your current clients. Figure out the people who've already been attracted to what you have to offer, the people who stick around, like what you do, that really kind of connect with your culture. And just ask them, like, when you're not here, where are you? Like, what groups do you belong to? Where do you go to church? Where do you live? I mean, some of that information you probably already know, but dig deeper. Ask, and then we want to build this attract and convert system where we know who we're trying to reach so we can speak specifically to them. We can use lead magnets or offers to get them to self-identify, and then we just go where they are, not just in social media land, but also offline. We want to connect with them and get them to express an interest, raise their hand, and then follow up and keep our offers in front of them, or better yet, maybe think of the offer as an invitation to come in and experience what we do. Keep that invitation in front of them, but then also kind of co-mingle that with some information, some stories, some social proof that is going to help them know, like, and trust you. And then you just follow up over time, because let's face it, not everybody's ready today to make a change in their life, to take on this new big project, responsibility, commitment. Not everybody's ready right now, but if it's something they're interested in, and if they're a good fit for what you do, when you are basically following up with them consistently over time, then when they are ready, they're going to choose you. So how does that look mechanically? The first thing we need is probably a couple different offers we can put in front of them. A lead magnet of some sort that would allow them to kind of raise their hand and say, okay, I'm interested, but I'm not really ready to connect with you and communicate with you right now, but I'm interested in learning more. So it's kind of this self-directed thing, a book, a gift card, a special report, anything like that. And then the second thing would be a really low-risk way for a person to experience what you do, get to know you a little bit better. A free trial, a low-cost front-end offer, even if it's just a phone consultation, something else you can put in front of them to help them really kind of self-identify and move a conversation forward. So not only are you guys aware of one another, but you're actually communicating. And then we just follow up, preferably 2 or 3 times a week. I prefer email. I think that's probably the easiest mechanism to use, but whatever you're doing to follow up with them 2 to 3 times a week, keeping offers in front of them, keeping that invitation in front of them. If you have that in place, you're going to do just fine. That was
that was good. I like that.
So I need a breather after this. Okay. So
you're gonna make me talk.
Yes. Yeah. No. Seriously, that was a lot. So let's see. I'm going to ask you kind of random questions here. Number one, man, you've run a business for a decade. You've had lots of twists and turns, lots of things going on. People may or may not know you've had over, about 25 different products.
More like 30.
Yeah, you've had tens of thousands of customers. You've had lots of subscribers. You've done offline stuff, online stuff. How about you throw out just one? So I'm not going to ask you to pick the biggest lesson because that's a lot of pressure, I guess, right?
Oh.
But just a single valuable lesson you've learned along the way.
I would say that the most valuable lesson is that you treat every single person that you make a connection with like a friend and really go above and beyond to nurture that relationship because you never know. And this is going to tie into what Patrick just was talking about, that there are going to be people that you interact with that are truly just not ready. But you don't give up on them. You continue to stay in touch with them. You continue to ask them what their interests are. You continue to deliver things that you know will be helpful to them. And that's a really big demonstration of the fact that you care, not just because they're giving you money, but you care about the relationship. And that in turn is going to help them to build an incredible amount of trust in you. And when they do reach that tipping point, you are going to be the first person that they think of to reach out to ask for help.
That was a much better answer than I expected you to give. So.
But it's true. Because I launched my business, Fit Yummy Mommy, back in 2007, and we're here today, November 2019. The original Fit Yummy Mommy customers are still a part of my community today. So that really speaks volumes to the fact that there is great value in going out of your way to really nurture and create those relationships because they last for a lifetime.
Good stuff. I'm not even going to try to tease you or make light of that or whatever else. So, all right, now that I've had a breather, let's get back to this.
So, how do you close more leads?
How do you close more leads? So I would tell you this is a kind of a twofold formula. The first would be we need to make more and better offers. We need to get more people to actually walk in the door. So if a lead is somebody who's expressed an interest in what you do, the tipping point really for most of our businesses is how do we turn that from this kind of distance, one-way relationship where we're sending them information, we're sending them emails, we're posting videos that they're liking or commenting on. How do we turn that into a conversation about them? Or better yet, how do we get them to walk in our door, into our facility, and actually kind of get over the mental obstacles, the emotional obstacles they have that have prevented them from doing this? Because frankly, a lot of people, I think, assume that price is the big obstacle for the prospect. But I would tell you the actual walking in the door of the gym and making the commitment is a much bigger obstacle than the price. They're spending money every month, but they're not spending money typically on things that make them nervous and anxious and self-conscious and that they fear that they're going to fail at, and it takes, 3, 4, 5 hours a week depending on how many times they're coming to see you and the travel time and all the transition stuff and, the ask of rearranging their already busy life. So most of the things that they're spending money on aren't such a big ask. So if we can get them to walk in the door, then they can already kind of envision themselves being here. So getting more people in, I don't care if you're doing free trials, low cost stuff, bring a friend days, charity events, whatever we can do to get them in the door, that would be number one. Number two, I would tell you sales train. This is something that we did, and Holly even was a participant in this when we built our training business. And I mean, we had people who I would think were probably on the surface super uncomfortable with selling that got to be really, really good at selling because we would practice it constantly. And if you're only getting to sit down with somebody once a week or something like that to sell, there's that internal pressure like, man, I need to get this right. I need to get this sale because I need more clients. You're not getting any practice. And if we want to get better at something, we need to practice. So role playing with somebody on your team, if you're a solopreneur, role playing with a peer, playing with your significant other, and figuring out, well, that sounded weird. So
I didn't even catch it.
So figuring out what you need to do to get comfortable with the various replies they're going to give, the objections they're going to present, the obstacles, the fact that maybe they're not just going to follow along with the exact path you expect them to follow along with, and you being able to kind of adapt on the fly. I think having more practice and getting comfortable with that is a big, big deal. And if you combine those two things, just more offers, getting more people in the door, and then practicing the actual sales process, you're going to see more people saying yes. And the last thing I'll mention about this is, and I've used this terminology myself, so I'm as guilty as anybody, but this term close a sale almost seems like it's this adversarial kind of relationship, right? Like it's, hey, I'm going to win. When the reality is, this is just the beginning of a partnership where we're going to work together to kind of move forward and help you achieve your goals. And I'm going to bring certain things to the table: experience, expertise, motivation, accountability, direction, clarity. I'm going to provide those things. You're going to provide effort and time and commitment. And yes, there's going to be a financial commitment to this, but there's going to be a time commitment and a commitment of you actually committing to a partnership to work together. So if you see it more of a, hey, how can I make this a situation where this person wants to partner with me to achieve their goals, instead of how do I win out in this kind of consultative environment and get them to kind of comply with whatever I'm asking of them. I think if you see it as a partnership, it's going to be a much, much smoother kind of process.
Nice.
That work?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, that's a big one. These are like big ones. All right, how about this one? When do I start my annual business planning?
Okay, so for me, I can tell you what I do, and you're really kind of dialed in on the planning stuff yourself, so I'll get your feedback because I'm not sure that they line up exactly because this is a personal thing. I start my planning for an upcoming year in November of the current year. So I want to take some time and kind of review what's happened. I want to get clear on where I want to go. I want to have a little bit of time to organize myself, to get feedback if I need feedback from other people, or to get buy-in from the other people that are on my team. So it doesn't work for me. And for a long time, I would just do all this stuff like the last week of the year. But what I found was when I did that, I was spending the bulk of January kind of setting myself up to execute a plan that I wanted to start on January 1st. I might have to be tightening up the infrastructure, or maybe creating new assets like lead magnets or campaigns or tools to deliver services. I needed to prep a little bit more and that just wasn't enough time. So November for me worked out really well because if I needed to create things, to develop things, if I needed to run stuff by people, have a little time to sit on something, that gave me enough time to feel good about it. And it wasn't like I'm not still working on my current year goals and trying to execute those, but I'm not waiting until the last possible minute, till that deadline to start planning for the upcoming year. So what are your thoughts on
Well,
this?
I relate it to saving your planning for the week till Sunday night. It's like you're trying to cram it all in, you're stressed out, you're not taking care of the other things, and you start Monday kind of already high stress. So if you look at it like the year, the more proactive you are, the more space you create to be able to gather the information that you need to be able to get yourself that nice head start.
Way more concise than mine. Good job. All right.
Them or me?
Both. Good work all the way around. So,
All right. How do I successfully build my membership?
man, that seems kind of like the last couple. So why do you keep asking questions that are all like the same question disguised as new questions?
I'm going to blame it on Paul.
Fair enough. So how do I grow my membership? So beyond just consistently marketing and consistently selling, I think that we need to embrace a different mindset. I think that embracing the mindset of being a producer, understanding that it's your responsibility to grow the membership every day. And now that may seem obvious, cliche, whatever you'd like to call it, but the reality is, in my experience, having done this whole business coaching thing and own my own businesses for the better part of 20 years, yeah, I know, that's a long time.
That is, yeah. How old are you?
Enough. All right, so wait a minute. What do you mean? How old am I? We're the same age. So,
We're winning.
so much here. All right, so most people just they operate their business. They don't focus on growing their business. They don't have consistent weekly targets that they're trying to hit. They're not saying, okay, I need 5 new members, clients, customers this week. How am I going to get them? What am I doing to drive that in? How many appointments do I need? If I'm closing 50%, do I have 10 scheduled people to come in this week to meet with, to go through a trial, to experience in some way, shape, or form? Am I generating enough leads to do that? So setting specific targets, tracking our numbers, and driving to those targets. I mean, I remember back with our first business, there was a big dry erase board on the wall that had our monthly goals, that had kind of progress toward goal. And this was something that we were focused on each and every week, was getting to the numbers that we wanted to get to. And so, you know, what I've kind of found is people may set arbitrary annual or even monthly goals, but they don't have a plan to get there, and they're not building their week around it. They're not planning their tomorrow about, okay, how am I getting enough people to walk in the door to hit my goal? And then, you know, they may not even know what to do if things don't go as planned. So like for me, I set a weekly target that I'm trying to hit that's going to keep me on track to where I want to go. But if I look up on Wednesday morning and we're behind significantly, then I'm going to call an audible and we're going to kind of reconfigure the plan to make sure that we get back on track. So beyond just the tactical stuff, like, okay, I've got enough lead generation stuff in play, I'm doing a good job with follow-up, I'm doing sales training. If you're not tracking this stuff and you're not making this part of your culture and you're not really identifying with that responsibility being a core responsibility of yours as a business owner, you don't really stand a chance, because frankly, as a business owner, we're taking the responsibility to move the needle. And if we're not making that part of the way that we think and function each and every day, you're just not going to back yourself into achieving your goals. That work?
That works.
All right.
How can I be successful without Facebook ads, ClickFunnels, Instagram stories? Those are 3 different, really, categories.
Why in the world would you think you need all those things?
Where's that coming from?
So let me give you a couple ways to think about this real quick. So yesterday we had a contractor that was here, and he's done a lot of work for us.
Can I tell them what his name is?
Sure.
His name is Mike Husband.
That's so funny to you.
So when I say Mike Husband's coming over, people are like, what? It's a running joke.
No, it's Holly's internal joke. So we love Mike. Mike's awesome. And, all told, Mike, I think we continually are using him for various things. So we're high lifetime value customers. No website, no Facebook ads, certainly no Instagram stories, anything like that, right? So, but he's built a service-based business around he connects with people, he does good work, he continues to follow up. Very basic, simple stuff. We've had the same landscaper for 10 years. When we started out with him, he had just left working for somebody else. And now, he's got a much bigger operation. He certainly is driving a much fancier truck, and his kids are in expensive private schools and all that stuff. So it's going pretty well for him now, it seems like, right? No website, no Facebook ads, no Instagram stories, and these are service businesses. But the first thing that I think rings true with both of them is they do good work. And so it's easy for them to keep the same customer long term and maximize the value of that relationship. Then second, both of them I know have grown significantly through referrals. I know that we found Mike through a neighbor that he was doing work for. Our current landscaper has done work for other people in our neighborhood because of him consistently being here and doing good work. So I think that's the foundation of this. The second piece of the puzzle is understanding that your clients don't just exist on the other side of a screen. They live in neighborhoods. They shop at local retail stores. They go to churches. They have kids in schools. They work at certain businesses. They belong to professional or personal social groups. They're around you. You're currently using Facebook as a vehicle to meet them. How about just go meet them, like in person, and connect with them there? And what's great about that is if we think about the goal of meeting somebody via social media and following up with them, we're ultimately trying to turn that into a real conversation. Let's get them on the phone. Let's get them to walk in. Well, if you meet somebody at Starbucks or if you meet somebody at a Chamber of Commerce event, you're already kind of circumventing all that lead up and you're actually having this conversation and now. So it's accelerating the relationship. So if we understand that our job is to go meet people where they are, not just on the other side of a screen, and connect with them and then follow up with them. I don't care how you follow up with them. You can follow up with them by a text message. You can send them postcards. You can do like multi-letter direct mail campaigns. You can send them Gmail emails and not pay for anything when it comes to technology that the question alluded to. You don't need that stuff. Understand that technology is simply a tool to help us get done the things we want to get done. It's not a necessity for us to build an offline service business. I mean, can it make life easier? Sure. But I will tell you that if I had to grow a business today, if I had to go make sales today, I certainly wouldn't be going on Facebook to try to do it. I'd be trying a more direct route so I can speed up the process. Last thing along this kind of topic, because it's very timely. Like today is election day here in Kentucky, and I assure you that the people who are campaigning for office are not reliant just on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Sure, they're going to use those things as tools, but they're out there putting up yard signs. They're showing up at festivals and parades. They're going to any group, whether it's a church or a Kiwanis Club or a Chamber of Commerce. They're going to any group that'll have them. And some of them are going door to door, right? They're sending out direct mail. So they're doing anything they can to connect with the people that can help them achieve their goal and be elected. So there's a lesson to be learned here. No matter what your political interest is, just understanding that if you do have some urgency, and in their case, they need the vote today, because if they get somebody's approval 2 days from now, it doesn't really help. So there's some urgency. So if there's urgency for them, how are they approaching it? Are they depending on one channel to reach people, or are they taking a really multifaceted approach? Obviously, it's the latter, and that's done with good reason. So, all good? Yep. All right, so is that all our questions for this episode? Then I'm going to wrap up with another question for you.
All right.
Holly, what is your favorite business as a consumer?
Lululemon.
Why?
High quality products. It seems like no matter what I try on there, it looks good on me.
Well, that seems like a boisterous.
It looks really good on me, and it's it like lasts forever. Lulus are like, it's a dependable brand. It's something that I know I can trust in. And I know that when I walk into the store, the staff is always there. And this is like where I was like, oh, I could have said White House Black Market, because they're the same way. Like walking into the store, they know that it's not closing the sale. It's not go buy something. They're asking you questions about you. What brings you in today? Are you looking for something in particular? I'm here to help you. And then when they set you up with the dressing room, they're just not like, yeah, they're back there. No, they find out what your first name is, and they write it on the board, and they knock on the door if you've been in there for a couple minutes, and they say, can I get you another size? They're all
makes
about...
me nervous.
They're all about taking care of you. And then when you are in there trying something on, I know for me, it's very hard for me to make decisions about well, I just said it looks good on me, but sometimes it is hard for me to figure out, is this the right fit? So I will be able to step out into the mirror, and they will give me some feedback and make suggestions based on the way something looks, the color, the fit, and they just set you up. So it's about this total experience from the moment that you walk in to the moment that you check out, because in both of those instances, they don't just take. How many times have you checked out at a store and you can't even make eye contact with the person that's checking you out, right? These places completely different, so it makes you want to come back. So after you pay for your purchase, it's not just like, all right, see, I closed ya. They grab the bag, and even at Lulu, they'll ask you what color bag you want. They will walk around the counter and come meet you where you are, hand you your bag with a smile, and set you on your way.
Man, they don't do that for me. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I assume you found these guys through a Facebook ad, right?
Heck no.
Well, do you remember your first Lulu shopping experience? Like, what pulled you in there the first time? Was it because they were in a mall? Did somebody take you there? Like, what? Do you have any recollection of that? I mean, you are aging now, so.
I'm sure it was walking through the mall and just venturing in.
Okay, so they met you where you were. You were there, and they were visible to you. It's not that they had to lure you in with something online and pull you offline. Good enough. So, I think that's a testament to, okay, you picked Lulu, which is certainly not the least expensive brand in its category. Really, I mean, most of the brands that you're going to find locally are going to be a little bit less expensive than Lulu. Like universally, the activewear stuff isn't always, but they're definitely towards the top of the pyramid.
But I've been in Athleta, and they don't treat me as nicely as they do in Lulu.
Oh boy, man! Now we're going to have people mad about that. But I mean, somebody can go shop at TJ Maxx or Marshalls and find exercise attire. They can go in Dick's Sporting Goods or Academy Sporting Goods, and they can do this stuff. But
I like the experience.
So I think
like feeling good about my purchase.
And I think that's important. I mean, you're willing to pay a little bit more for a better quality, for a different experience, for things that make you feel better about yourself.
There's nothing worse than buying something than second guessing it.
So
then you have that guilt, and then you're like, oh God, I got to take that back. And then you have bags that are like stacked up in the mudroom of all these returns, and then you waste money because they expire.
This is not my shopping experience, just so you know. So I think that's just one more reminder that if you're trying to build a business and not being reliant on technology, there are plenty of other ways to do it. And you don't have to be the low-cost provider either. So that's it. Thanks, Holly.
All right.
Thanks for watching. If you click the first link in either the description or the link in the pinned comment, you can get my latest book, The Ideal Business Formula, for free. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button for me. If you have any questions or comments or video requests, leave me a comment below and I'll be quick to respond. And lastly, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm posting videos weekly now, and if you turn your notification bell on, you'll be sure to get them all.